you think that your opinion matters.
Well, why are you doing my show if it doesn't?
Oh, I'm just taking your audience to sell pay-per-views. I don't give a fuck about your show. You don't. This is a business enterprise. Buy the pay-per-view on Saturday, June 28th, me versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Thank you. Tune in, everybody.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, so people can sit behind their desks and sit on their TV shows and say a lot of things about my career, but everyone's tuning in, everyone's watching, and I just continue to win.
Jake Paul isn't pulling punches. He's bringing legal fire. After beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's now targeting Piers Morgan and calling out top boxing names in a bombshell lawsuit. After his big win over Chavez, Jake Paul fired back at critics who doubted him. Tired of being dismissed as a fake boxer, he warned that his team will now go after anyone spreading lies about his boxing career, including Piers Morgan. After years of letting it slide as just haters being haters, I have asked my team to vigorously go after anyone who makes up lies about my boxing career. Expect to get served, you pigs. Right after the fight, Jake was asked about Piers Morgan's remarks. He responded calmly but firmly, saying people talk from behind desks on TV, but that doesn't matter. What really counts is showing up and winning in the ring. Jake made it clear that he's here to prove himself through action, not arguments.
And sit on their TV shows and say a lot of things about my career, but everyone's tuning in, everyone's watching, and I just continue to win.
In their tense interview, Jake told Piers he is part of the problem. Jake explained he's trying to challenge top fighters, but people like Piers never give him credit. He openly mocked Piers during the exchange, saying that no matter what he does, some just refuse to see the truth.
So what do you want, Piers? You're laughing when you say, oh, Jake is going to fight Canelo. I think you would kill him. But then you're like, oh, you're not fighting this guy. You're the problem here with this whole situation and criticism of my career. I'm trying to fight the best people, and that's why Chavez is here on Saturday. I want Canelo. I want Anthony Joshua. I want all these people. It's been 5 years in this sport.
Furthermore, Piers brought on MMA fighter Dylan Dennis, who shared strong opinions about Jake Paul. They both agreed that Jake keeps picking opponents who don't pose a real threat. They said his fights are against older boxers, not active top-level competition. Dylan pointed out that fighting someone like Mike Tyson, who's more than twice Jake's age, just doesn't prove anything. To them, these matchups feel more like publicity stunts than real challenges inside the ring.
That he is deliberately selecting fights that are not really much of a test for him. You know, if he fought Mike Tyson when Tyson was 22, that's one thing. Yeah. Fighting Mike Tyson when he's 58 and you're half his age is clearly set up for you to not get knocked out.
Exactly, and I think, no offense to you, but even when he was like Anderson Silva was 48, 47.
Yeah.
So you could have called him out on that. And then he was saying champions of their own sport. So he's talking about Tyron Woodley and these guys, they're MMA champions. That would be like or that would be like Ronaldo saying, oh, I beat Derek Jeter in soccer. So it doesn't make any sense of what he's saying.
The criticism didn't stop there. Piers posted a tweet after Jake's latest fight, saying he had a better fight with Jake during their interview than what fans saw in the ring. He accused Jake of turning boxing into a boring show, claiming the fights feel fake and staged for money. Breaking: I had a better fight with Jake Paul on Thursday than the unwatchable farce that took place tonight. The guy's lining his pockets with buckets of dollars, but he's killing boxing with this boring staged bullshit against older fighters way past their prime. Meanwhile, during his chat with Dylan, Piers laughed at Jake Paul's plan to sue him. Dylan explained the situation in a sarcastic way, comparing it to a fast food chain getting mad at someone for calling their food unhealthy. To add further fuel to the fire, the tone during this conversation was clearly mocking.
And he's now threatening to sue me for suggesting that...
Same team here. We're going to be both getting sued by the Pauls. That's all they do when they can't win.
I think you've still got some outstanding lawsuits with them, yeah?
Yeah, so I can't say too much about it because I'm still in the lawsuit. I have another deposition the 27th, but now he's going after you. I mean, you have way more money than me, I think, so you'll be able to handle that pretty easy. But him suing you is like someone suing McDonald's for calling their food like junk food or something like that. So everything you said was true. I mean, literally everything you said was true, and he couldn't handle it.
Piers kept pushing the point that Jake only picks opponents who are much older or past their prime. Danis agreed, saying this pattern is damaging boxing's image. To him, these matchups don't help the sport grow and instead make it harder for real fighters to be taken seriously.
Well, I don't see how he can possibly contradict the fact that he clearly stages fights which are to his obvious benefit, right? Because he's choosing opponents who are not at their peak. They're way past their peak. They're either much older or from other disciplines or whatever. He is staging events. They're entertaining on a certain level. You know, he's making a ton of money. But the idea that these are doing anything but damaging the integrity of boxing, I think is for the birds.
I think he's ruining the sport, 100% ruining the sport. I think people are starting to catch on though, because it seemed like this one no one was talking about, no one really cared about. I feel like people are just like, oh, this is bullshit now, you know? So he doesn't have the kind of shit he had before when he was fighting the MMA guys. Are like, oh, let's see if he can win because he's a Disney star.
Moving on, Wade Plemons shared a different view during his reaction. He said Jake has worked hard to earn respect and improve, and it's unfair how many people still question his career. Wade pointed out that even world champions had weak fights early on, so Jake deserves the same chance to grow without constant criticism.
I'm telling you, people are getting under Jake's skin. I think he's just tired of people not respecting him. And the problem is, while he lays out his resume there, and again, to me, someone that watched him go from not knowing how to box to becoming what he is now, that is an impressive resume. And out of the people that have crossed over in the boxing scene, he has the best resume. And honestly, no one in pro boxing wants to admit this, but most people, your favorites, world champions throughout history, fought bums until they had about 15 or 16 wins. That's the reality of professional boxing. I even heard Tevin Farmer say it to Floyd Schofield in the presser today. Like, yeah, you got a lot of knockouts because they know how to build you. They know how to move you. And tell me those guys wouldn't be worse than Jake's resume to some degree. I mean, we're talking about guys that fought dudes with 100 losses. Guys that are 0-39, 3-4. Like, their records are trash.
Maybe Wade has a solid point, because Jake Paul has called out the best fighters to fight him. He even wants a match with Alex Pereira. Jake is not hiding or running from anyone. Instead, he wants the best fights, but no one seems to take him seriously.
We have a lot of MMA legends and superstars on this podcast, right? Like Alex Pereira, for example. That would be a great fight for you.
Yeah, I wanted that fight. I said that. I called him out after Perry.
Chama? Poton?
One of my fights. Yeah, 100%.
You want to box him or MMA?
Box. Yeah.
How would he do against Alex Pereira?
I don't know, bro.
He sparred Alex Pereira for 3 rounds.
Yeah, he's a beast. But that's what excites me.
In another interview, Jake responded to critics, saying he needs tougher fights. He said most people just want to see him fail, but he's focused on real challenges. He even hinted at a possible future fight against Anthony Joshua, showing he's ready to step up.
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake Paul has also gone after other big names in the media. He believes Canelo is avoiding him and says he wants that fight. Jake seems confident, saying he's ready to take Canelo on and win. He doesn't hold back when calling out major figures in the boxing world.
Canelo was asked about you, Jake, and he said jokingly that your life was spared, but a little bit more seriously that, brutal beatdown is what you missed by not having that fight. What's your response to that?
My response is he's 5'8". I'll see that guy anywhere end his life, for real. Like, he doesn't want the smoke. I'll beat him in boxing, but at the end of the day, if it was just man-on-man in the street, I would literally rip his heart out.
On this topic, things heated up even more before the fight when Canelo publicly said he wanted Chavez to beat Jake Paul. This added fuel to the fire, making the pre-fight buzz even louder. With emotions already running high, Canelo's comment clearly didn't go unnoticed by Jake or his team.
I hope Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. beat Jake Paul. My support is with Chavez Jr.
Thank you.
Moving on, while Jake is shouting Canelo and other big fighters' names, Canelo doesn't care much about Jake Paul. He is focused on his upcoming fight with Crawford, as both fighters are seen challenging each other on live media interviews and conferences.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the...
Hey, Matt. Yeah.
The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too.
In his recent interview with the GOATs, Canelo said he is focused on his fight in September. He is just thinking about his path and training. He is least bothered about Jake Paul calling him out.
I have a fight in May, and then after that, I'm gonna maybe rest like a week and then start training again for September. Focus on what I'm doing right now. Obviously, I'm focused 100% on May because I need to take care about the fight first, and then to this happen, right? And then I need to take care about that fight and training, focus on my path.
Canelo doesn't even take Jake into account. According to the Mexican fighter, he had to choose between David Benavidez and Crawford. He chose Crawford. Canelo thinks Crawford brings something to the table that will help him create history.
Do you think this fight does more for your career than fighting David Benavidez?
You can see the career of Terence Crawford or Benavidez. Terence Crawford is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes, many championship fights. So he bring me something to the table. He bring me something to the table for my history, and that's all about.
However, Nakisa Badarian, the business partner of Jake Paul, also called out Piers Morgan for being offensive and targeting a young fighter's career. He tweeted, "This claim is baseless and irresponsible. Last night's fight versus Chavez Jr. was a fully sanctioned 10-round cruiserweight bout officiated by the California State Athletic Commission with official judges. No staging/rigging, just hard work and a legit win." He further added, "To say otherwise not only undermines the integrity of the sport, but is defamatory and causes reputational damage to MVP, Jake Paul, and the commission. Enough is enough. We will be exploring all options, including legal action, to hold accountable those spreading such deliberate and harmful lies." On the other hand, not holding back, Dylan Dennis claimed that Jake Paul isn't really popular anymore, saying people don't care much about his social media. Piers added that Jake has only faced 2 real boxers in his entire career. Together, they questioned whether Jake's opponents truly reflect the kind of serious competition he claims to seek.
I mean, you could see by his socials that no one really cares about his fights. And yeah, I think he's ruining the sport. And I think that the way he was going at you, if you had a little bit more ammo on him, like he was saying he fought 2 guys that were boxers. I don't even know their names. But
well, I made a little note actually, or my team did, of his entire boxing record, right? Which I
can tell you every single guy. And
Piers went on to list all of Jake Paul's past opponents, pointing out big age gaps and matchups that didn't excite fans. He noted that many of the fighters were well past their prime. Piers also mentioned that in Jake's recent fight, Chavez barely defended himself in the early rounds, which made the win much easier for Jake.
Number 1 was Ali Al-Fakri, who was a YouTuber. Number 2 was Nate Robinson, a former basketball player in his first ever boxing bout. Number 3 was Ben Askren, MMA fighter making his pro boxing debut.
That was supposed to be me, actually.
Then Tyron Woodley, pro debut for MMA fighter Woodley. Then Tyron Woodley, the rematch. Anderson Silva, 47-year-old, as you said, MMA fighter. He then fought an actual boxer, Tommy Fury, and he lost. He then fought Nate Diaz, which was a pro boxing debut for Diaz, who was 38. He then fought Andre August, an unknown 35-year-old who only had a few fights previously. He then fought Ryan Borland, a former amateur boxer who hung up his gloves to work on oil rigs in 2018 before coming back to fight him. He then fought number 11, Michael Perry, 32-year-old MMA star who'd had 1 previous boxing bout, which he'd lost. He then fought a 58-year-old Mike Tyson.
Not one to back down, Jake reacts to people like Piers Morgan calling his fight staged. Jake says even his YouTube videos were never staged. Even Bear DeGidio praised Jake for reinventing the algorithm of social media with his uniqueness.
No, he beat me. He punched me in the face, bro.
He really hit you?
Yeah, bro.
That is staged or no?
That's real, bro. Why does everyone think staged?
Because you from YouTube, probably.
Yeah, but even my YouTube videos weren't staged.
Yeah, this guy did light a house on fire. I was there.
It was technically chance.
It was chance, and they lit a whole house on fire. But then they put it out. They're like firemen. At one point, Jake was banned from filming in the entire city of LA.
Yeah.
We had to drive 3 hours just to do vlogs.
Yeah, do people know like our history? Like I'm sure some people, but
some people. I've been rolling with Jake Paul for 15 years, 10 years. This guy was the first person to literally sit down and say, hey, this is where social media is going. He reinvented the algorithm.
Furthermore, Jake highlighted that people online tell him to fight fighters his age in their prime era. And when Paul asks for Canelo, everybody calls him dumb for thinking he could beat Canelo. Jake says he is confident he will win, but no one is making his fights with potential bigger boxers happen.
This is why I try to understand stupid people on a daily basis. I just can't get it because they yell at me. They're like, fight this person, fight the hardest person, fight the hardest person. And then when I'm like, okay, Canelo, let's fight, they're like, oh, he's a dumb. He thinks he can beat Canelo. What do you want? Do you want me to fight the hard person? I'm trying. I'm trying.
Fight Rampage.
And then
stuff your face with glizzies. He want to fight.
I'm like, yo, let me fight Alex Pereira. People want to see me get knocked out. I'll give them what they want potentially, but I think I can win. And so when I say I want Alex Pereira, people, but what do you want? You want me to fight people my age? You want me to fight the people in their prime? You want me to fight? Bro, I'm trying, but no one seems to want to make it happen.
Jake also confidently said that he would win. He claimed that no one had ever hit Canelo as hard as I will hit him.
Is it true Canelo's ducking you?
I wouldn't use the word ducking. I would say that he'd had to follow through to make $300 million. You know, the Saudis were threatening to pool his $300 million deal with them if he was going to fight me. So he had a 3-fight, $300 million deal, and they were going to pool it if he fought me. So he had to chase the bag, of course.
How would you do against Canelo?
I would win.
You would beat Canelo.
100%.
Not
a shadow of doubt in my mind.
How is that?
The thing is that stylists make fights, and the way we stylistically match up, I would be able to pick him apart and hit him, and he's never been hit by someone as hard as me.
When asked about his reaction to these claims made by Jake, Canelo smiles and said that maybe at the age of 50, there could be many meanings behind this sarcastic answer. Maybe Canelo doesn't think Jake is a worthy opponent, or maybe Piers and Dennis are correct. Jake Paul fights people older than him, and Canelo just acknowledged it.
Would you ever entertain a Jake Paul fight?
Not right now. Let's see later when I have like a 50 years old.
Do you think Jake Paul's lawsuit is justified, or is he just dodging criticism? Is he elevating boxing or hurting it with celebrity-style matchups? Drop your thoughts below. Are you Team Jake or Team Truth? Let's hear what real fans think about the drama outside the ring.